Speaking of England,
Tangent over.
oh no, speaking of England, we're going right back.
Oh no.
Have you heard that the biggest fraud? Actually, no. Where does this guy rank on the biggest flops in Chelsea FC history? He's got to be like 35th based off of price and his performance. But we're talking Timo Werner back to RBNY, baby. And the question is, are we really doing this again? And you're damn right we're doing this again. Red Bull going back to back MLS Cup because this is the missing piece, baby. This is what we need. Timo Werner back in. All right, let's go do this professionally. Because for the 148th time in about 2.5 weeks, Timo Werner is being linked to New York Red Bull. Just 29 years old. Last time we talked about him, he was 28 because we keep talking about it. But he has had quite the career. And just to remind people, he lit it up at Stuttgart's youth system. And then the biggest club in Germany, RB Leipzig, bought him on a hot run of form. And he kept it up in Germany and dropped like 40 something goals. And then, oh, yeah, that's right. Just like any player who has a semi decent 34 minutes of form, Chelsea dropped 50 mil on him. And he was bang average at best for Chelsea. 10 goals in 2 seasons, 10 league goals in 2 seasons, almost 4,000 minutes in the league, which prompted a return back to the Bundesliga. And I could see Connor already getting in there, getting his response ready. Actually, he scored 18 goals if you count Leagues Cup and this cup and that cup. Don't worry, I'm ready for it. He went back to Leipzig, didn't really get on there. Then loaned to Spurs, didn't really get on there. Both failed to produce anything of substance, and he has been made aware that he's not in Leipzig's plans, he's not in Spurs' plans. They need to offload him, and Red Bull, with DP spot in hand, is ready to take that number from one accounting checkbook and put it right on the other without passing any actual money. Because wire transfer fraud is really, really underlooked in soccer. Thoughts on the move? Sorry, I had a lot of fun writing that. I needed to put that all out there.
There you go. I'm glad you had your fun. You missed the major fact that Timo Werner is a Champions League winner with Chelsea, by the way.
COVID
So
champion, yeah,
all of
COVID
that money
champion,
spent was worthwhile because
COVID
guess what? That Champions League also has us in this Club World Cup right now, which is making us tens of millions at the moment.
Oh,
So I
good. So you
would
can
say it
drop it
was
on another
worthwhile.
another player who's got 4 goals and 15 appearances, so he can sit on your bench and rot.
Yeah, actually, they legitimately just did. They just bought João Pedro from Brighton, so that's for 50 million. So there you
Oh
go.
man, that's funny.
The cycle continues. No, Timo is the perfect New York Red Bull striker because he is the type of player that gets himself into good positions and cannot finish the ball. So he will fit the Red Bull system beautifully. So actually, I am in full support of this move because he will continue the pipeline of strikers going to New York Red Bulls and constantly underperforming their XG, which he has done so to a massive -13 since FBref has started tracking XG. So I am very much looking forward to that for you. What I will say, I actually feel like Timo Werner could have been a good fit for LAFC in counterattacking because he is rapid. Put him with Denny Bouanga. I actually think that would have been a 100 times better fit than an Olivier Giroud. But nonetheless, he's in the Red Bull system, and once you're in the Red Bull system, you're not allowed to leave. So Red Bull's the
Blasphemy.
only place he's going.
Matt Miazga begs to differ. Caden Clark begs to differ.
Yeah, and what
Pat
happened when
Segrist begs to
and
differ.
what happened when Miazga left the system?
Yeah, he had his career ruined by the career ruining club. Um,
Which is the same thing that happened to Timo when he left the system.
I love how you're sitting here hyped over it. You're like, I love that my club ruins careers.
I'm not,
Oh,
listen, I am not hyped that, listen, they've ruined a couple careers along the way. But you know what? It got us a Champions League and it's getting us top four.
all right.
And that's all that matters.
Enough of the Euro snob talk. Let's talk about the real league that matters. I'm here for it. Still here for it. Was here for it last year. Here for it this year. He has blistering pace. You mentioned that already. That is the biggest need for Red Bull. We've got Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting and Emil Forsberg as our players who cannot outrun. I mean, the majority of the world's population. If you if you made me guess, That being said, we do have two players in Mohamed Sofo and in Serge Ngoma right now who are doing that running in behind, but they don't have the quality to finish plays off. Specifically, Serge Ngoma. Sofo's had a really good year, but Ngoma is coming back from injury, still trying to find that form. He hasn't quite got there yet. I know he will, but he hasn't gotten there quite yet. So to have somebody like Timo Werner come in and provide that pace with a little bit of quality as well would be really, really good for us. And like you mentioned, even if he doesn't fit, or rather, let me rephrase that. Even if he doesn't score goals, then he fits even better into Red Bull's system because what would Red Bull be without an expensive striker who cannot score goals?
Agreed.
Yeah. So the question then is, how does Timo Werner fit in? Are we looking at a two striker system with Red Bull? Are we looking at a wide player? What do you think? You and your massive Red Bull knowledge, where do you think Timo is going to fit in here?
I mean, I think if you are going to go with a double striker system, Timo is not the one that you would have drop deeper. I think that's definitely Choupo-Moting's role in that two striker system. Like you said, Timo Werner, he's there for pace, right? He's going to be the guy that sits on the shoulder of defenders, looks to make runs in behind, where Forsberg can find him, and then take his chances one on one. So I think if you're gonna consider Choupo-Moting to be like a second striker, I think he's the guy that's gonna play deeper. Maybe he's a little bit more hold up play, kind of just controlling possession a little bit more, and then Timo gives you that option to play on the counter. So maybe it just kind of gives guys like Forsberg a couple different options on how they want to play things out, and lets them have a little bit more expression and like how they want to play. Read the game as it's going on and not just be like, we're going to stick to this rigid Red Bull system and just cross our fingers and hope that it works. And, it's worked in the past and it's got us consistently solid results. So, it feels like a change of direction if that's the way they're going to play it for Red Bull to kind of like, be a little bit more fluid, give some more options on the field instead of like sticking with the Red Bull way.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if I want to see him as a second striker because that would involve a lot of change and moving of players in a system that has worked relatively well for us to a relative degree. We haven't created a ton of chances, but for the most part, we understand the system. We keep the ball really well. We're on the ball all the time. We're just missing that final piece, which I think comes when we have more speed going in behind, right? Defenders, it's easy for them because everything's in front of them. We don't have a lot of people, threatening in behind. And I think that's something Timo Werner can do, especially if we use him on the right side, for example, because somebody like Alexander Hack, for example, loves hitting that crossfield ball. Omar Valencia loves hitting that crossfield ball. Finding him in open space where he can just take one touch in behind the back line and go, I think is going to be really good for Red Bull, right? And this is something where he is basically going to just be a Lewis Morgan replacement because Lewis Morgan, after playing 14 minutes in the first game, getting hurt for 4 months or however long he's been out, comes back in his first ever game in the last 22 minutes, he gets hurt again. Right? Like I don't think he's coming back this year. If he does, that'd be great, but it's pretty disappointing. And the idea for me is that I think Timo Werner will not be a second striker, but I think he will be one of those offset attacking midfielders where it'll be him and Emil Forsberg who are kind of up there, or him and Mohamed Sofo, or somebody like that, where he's going to be the second guy. Where much like we were just talking about with Pat Odgeman a little bit ago, if you play him, what we like to play into Eric Choupo-Moting's feet, and then let him lay off and run off of him in that style, this is where he would fit really well. So I'm excited to think that he might be really really impactful in that role. But then again, I am a Red Bull fan, so I understand that all of my hope will die within the first 4 minutes of him being on the field, and that's okay, right? I think we both agree that he'll probably be more of a help than a hurt. I don't see how this hurts Red Bull, but again, he's either going to help us or he's going to fit right in with every other striker we've ever signed and be, $6 million of wasted talent. So,
I mean that's where he comes in and hurts you. He takes up a DP spot and he comes in and continues to not be able to finish his opportunities.
so he doesn't hurt us. He just keeps us at the status quo. You can't bring us any lower. I watched Tom Barlow and
Oh,
Patrick
you
Klimala.
can go lower because you could
No,
just miss the playoffs.
come on. This is MLS and Red Bull. That's like peanut butter and jelly, baby. That you don't separate those two things.